Howdy.
Hey everybody.
How's it going? Why is this locked? Awesome. So, how's everybody doing today? I see we got a few people in the room already here. Um, I'm David,
I'm Greg.
and yeah, welcome to 3Dmakeit. And this is the live edition, so we're going to be talking about a few things coming up. We're going to be answering questions if you have anything, and throwing some sagely advice.
Sagely. Hopefully good advice.
If you have questions or anything, drop them in the comments there, or in the chat, I should say, and we'll try to answer them for you. I'm going to butcher your name, but hello, Jerio. I think I got it.
I don't think it's pronounced
Hario?
Hario?
We're really sorry if we butchered your name, but welcome. Can hopefully everybody can hear us okay, and everything's running smoothly. The bear David is necked. Got it. So first thing we want to talk about would be our everyone.
Airy one. Yeah, David was approached.
Yeah. So if you're in any of the forums right now, there's a filament called Airy One, and it's a relatively newer Chinese player on the market. I think they're from China anyway, and basically they approached us and asked if we could. Asked if I would use some of their filament and review it and test it, and I've had good results and I've had bad results, and I figured out why last night. But I got the black, and
I got the gold, and it's the silky gold. It's very pretty, but I have had one partial good print and 6 failures. And originally I thought I was getting heat creep. Now I'm suspecting maybe it wasn't heat creep, but I tore apart my Chiron and redid the hot end because I have a video coming up. I'm converting it from a V5 to a V6, so I thought maybe the stock cooling fan wasn't good enough. And then I went to my other printer and I started printing parts with it just to see, and no luck.
yeah, and I mean, I printed and I have posted on our Facebook page and the Airy One forum. I printed a Batman
Right.
out of the black. He's about that tall. It's actually upstairs right now. Otherwise, I'd show it. And it turned out uh, okay. It looks really good actually. The print completed, but the catch to that story would be that was the fifth or sixth try before it would actually print.
Yeah, and originally I was printing at around 210 because David said he had to print it hot.
Yeah.
And normally I'd print around 200, so I thought, oh, I'll try 210. And my first small print came out okay. It was a little keychain of the Lamborghini logo for my kid's friend, and then I tried something not really that much more elaborate. It's the bottom cooling vent for my Chiron, and that's where I thought I had heat creep because it was quite a long print, and it failed and just. But I think the diameter, and you measured it,
Yep.
is very inconsistent.
It's so when I was measuring it last night, I was trying to print something for one of my new videos coming out, which is support materials, and I have, as most of you know, I have a SX 4, which is a big Core XY printer. I have a Ender 3 that we've upgraded with big Tree Tech drivers and an MKS Gen L.
Yeah.
And then we have I have a CR10S here as well. And the two printers, so that would be the Ender and the SX4, that weren't using the Airy One filament, printed perfect the first time. Last night it took me 5 goes to get that started. So I pulled out the calibers, and yeah, the diameter of the filament measured anywhere between 1.71 and 1.91. And as we all know, at 1.91 it's getting fairly large. And if you've done like if you've done the Capricorn XS tubing, the inner diameter on that is the same size pretty much.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's not
very-
going to move through that.
Yeah.
And my Capricorn is before they changed the inner diameter, so it's even smaller. So
Yeah, I have the cloned Capricorn,
Yeah.
so it's not real Capricorn, and I'm having similar issues. So yeah, so I've reached out to the rep, and I've kind of sent some pictures, and I don't know if it's a quality control issue on their part, and they're going to have to really step it up, but.
yeah, and one thing, I was talking with her last night as well, and they're very open to the feedback on the filament. It's a new filament, and full disclosure, the filament they sent to me was free.
Mine was not.
Not yet, anyway.
They haven't paid me or reimbursed me, so I may be out $35.
Yeah, so and that's another touching point on it too, and we're gonna have a full review. But the Airy One filament there, at the price point it's not. So we live in Canada, and my black filament was 29, and I think the shiny stuff's closer to 39.
I think I paid almost 35
Yeah.
for the shiny stuff. But I honestly, I'm printing the same print that's failed more than once, and I'm printing it with Amazon Basic Black.
Yeah, so
right now.
$12 or $15.
Yeah, I think I got a really good deal. I think it was like 14 something for a roll, so I bought 2 of them.
Yeah.
And it's printing so far. It's past the points that all the other ones have started failing. I even sliced it in Kira and Prusa, and both of them failed equally as bad. So
Yeah, I mean, so is it okay filament? Yeah. Is it filament that I would run out and buy again?
not so
I would
far.
I'd give it another try, but that's all I can say because at the price, like I I think okay filament or fairly good filament, it should be around the $30 mark, and this stuff, I think it's worth $22, $20 in there.
Yeah, but even the $20 filament, we've had prints.
Oh yeah, we've had great luck, but it is worth noting that our machines aren't quite stock anymore. So if you were running the Airy One filament through a stock CR10 Ender, something that didn't have
Maybe.
the smaller diameter, it would probably probably print.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might try to take it and print it on the Dremels,
Yeah.
and we can see what happens, or even our the Predator.
Yep.
Yeah, we could throw that, or send some over to the T-Rex.
T-Rex.
Yeah. So, but so that's kind of one of our first thoughts that we wanted to mention today was just up front. They sent me some filament for free, and I know they're offering lots of people
Discounts.
filament and discounts, and they're really trying to build their brand. So good for them. They just need a little bit more quality control,
Yes.
and I think it will be good.
SKR. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So We, like everybody else, have on the planet have jumped on the SKR bandwagon.
Absolutely.
So between us, we have three or four, three
What?
SKR boards. I
No.
think you
Two.
have one, I have one. We put one, three. We've done three. We've done,
Oh, well, yeah.
yeah,
We've configured three. We
yeah,
each have one, and then a friend of ours bought one.
yeah, and
Uh,
we
yeah.
configured them. They were, um, I'm gonna say, easy to configure.
Yeah, I had a couple of glitches. If you don't set the serial ports right, it all of a sudden doesn't respond on, so it won't take updates and won't. You can't
Connect.
communicate on project phase.
Yeah.
But once you learn those little glitches, it's not so bad.
No.
Updating the firmware, you just drop it on the SD card and reboot, and then it loads. So you can keep a couple backup copies of different revisions and then copy them back and forth. I have mine in. I'm going to have a video of the install. I have it in my Chiron, and it's printing, and I just had to tweak some e-steps, but I'm now thinking it might be of the filament, not the e-steps.
Yeah,
So I will retry, test that. But yeah, it's running smooth, and the 2208s running on the board in the UART mode, so quiet, so quiet.
Oh yeah, they're quiet. The one thing I've learned from my Ender experience with the 2208 specifically, not necessarily the SKR board, um, uh, that if you're following the teaching tech video on the VREF, you're going to burn out your stepper drive or stepper motors in a hurry. I think he I think he was a little bit right on the calculations, so I'm running around 550 per driver.
Yeah, I think I'm around 700. Um,
But
but
bigger printer too.
yeah.
The Chiron is a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and so I will have a video on that. So I took out the old board, the Tri-Gorilla. Um, I tried to get the screen working with the new board. I tried everything I could, and they are using some custom communication there. They want 1001 command and 1000 command
Yeah.
for leveling and a few other things. So I could not get it to properly communicate from the printer. So I'm running it headless right now. It's just running off of the Octoprint. So
Yeah.
but it works really well. It's so quiet, so smooth. I did turn off hybrid mode
Yes. Hybrid mode
because
is an issue.
when you're in stealth, when it goes from stealth chop to hybrid mode,
It's a
when
spread
you're
cycle,
homing or spread cycle, when you're homing, it gets really loud
Oh,
and whiny. And so as soon as you turn
terrible.
that off, all of a sudden it's like the fans were so loud. So that's the other video I'm doing. Is I've posted on Thingiverse now two different mods I've done to the motherboard case cover and the power supply cover, and that ties into the previous video I just did on buck converters because I've tied them in. And so I'm actually adding a third buck converter so I can do a Noctura fan.
You're gonna have all buck converters and no
Man.
controller.
But it's so quiet. Those
Yeah.
two fans are moving so much air, and I'm only running the 120 mil fans at, I want to say, 6 volts.
Yeah, you don't
Or
need
something
much to get the air
because they're
moving.
moving so much air, and they're pretty much silent. You cannot hear them. The cooling fan on the actual print head that's where you're hearing the
Mhm.
the fan
Yeah.
because that's so loud. But
But now mine's
amazing.
running in the background with a Noctura,
Yeah.
and you don't hear it at all.
Yeah. So I've got the Noctura adapter uh, set up and everything, and I'm printing a new model, which I'm going to incorporate a BL Touch into and whatnot. And that's the one that I was having the failed prints with the other filament. But so I will be incorporating a BL Touch, and I'm probably gonna change the part cooling because obviously I can't use the leveling that came with it. It was just not working well. So.
I'm just gonna answer that in the live stream. Yeah, I've got one in the PSU on my Meanwhile in my CR10.
I did not put a Noctura on my power supply. I opted to. I made a new cover for the power supply, and again, in the video, I'll post all the links to Thingiverse. And a 120 millimeter fan sits directly on this cover, and it sucks the cool air in and blows it across the power supply. And there's so much air moving.
Yeah.
It's so quiet, so it's silent. The power supply was the loudest part in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The second loudest part was the fan they had blowing over the drivers, but now I've centered another 120 millimeter fan directly over the motherboard, and you could do this with the stock motherboard or the new SKR that I put in.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, it's so quiet and moving so much air, and it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's side topic on fans from the SKR itself, but lots of people naysay the Noctua fans and say they don't move enough air, and they are inadequate for hot end or power supply cooling. And I would say that's not even close to true, because the fan itself moves air. It's when you start adding the resistor cables that they send with it that you'll move the fan down into a lower voltage, and then that spins the fan slower. So yeah, if you have a 4010 fan at half voltage, you're not going to get enough airflow. But when we're talking 120 millimeter fans on the power supplies, or the 50, I think they're 5010s inside, and you're running those at the proper voltage, you're not even going to have a problem. And with two of them, 6 volts is more than enough.
I know some people have replaced the stock fans in the power supplies and whatnot with the same equivalent Noctura. And that would be fine. You do have to put a buck converter in, because you're not going to find a 24 volts, unfortunately, Noctura fan. But I opted this other way because I got a really good deal on some Silent Corsair 120 millimeter fans. It was a 2-pack, and I think I paid like
$30 or something.
I think it was like $30 for this 2-pack, and they're so quiet. So I would recommend that way, but it doesn't matter which way you do it. I would silence your fans if they're too loud, but keep as much airflow as possible, because the last thing you want to do is modify it and not have enough airflow. My printers are in a cool basement. If you are in a humid or hot environment and whatnot, definitely you want to make sure that you have enough air movement continuously on it.
And same rule applies. One more tangent, then we'll go back to SKR quick. But with fans, same applies to your Raspberry Pi. You got to watch if you're running Octoprint or a third party like Octoprint or microcomputer even, that it's a good idea if you're doing a 30-hour print job to have a little 5-volt fan on top of that thing cooling it, or all the correct heat sinks. But just to steer back towards SKR specifically for a second, would be recently Creality released the Creality 1.1.5 boards. And I know not everybody uses Creality, but the cost of that board is about $60, and the cost of the SKR board comes in at about 10 to 20 depending on when you buy it, dollars less. So it's really a no-brainer because you get UART control natively when you buy the 2208s in UART mode on the SKR, which is unbelievable, and you shouldn't even buy them without it.
I don't know.
And
I guess if you didn't do your research, you might buy them without it. But other than that, there's no reason to.
No, because the only reason I could see you not wanting it is if you're the kind of printer, so you're the person that just wants to drop the board in, just like a regular controller board, and not control it. Right? You're gonna set your VREFs once and walk away, but like the feedback you get from the 2208s and the 2130s, just through SPI and UART from those boards is, paramount. You can't go wrong.
And I know a lot of people really like printing from SD cards or like printing from, the screen and doing all your controls from the onboard printer screen. And honestly, I have not done that much. I've done a little bit. I definitely, the touchscreen was nicer. It definitely was nicer. But I got to say that having the Pi all customized and just sitting there all the time, I can bring it up on my phone and then send a print job to it. I can monitor the print job. Totally worth, depending on where you are, the $30 for a Pi to $50. Totally worth it for anyone who's wants a way to manage their printer more efficiently. You drag and drop your files on it. You can tie it into Astro Print. You can tie it into almost anything. It works really well. So definitely, I know, David, you've got all your printers running.
Oh yeah, I don't touch. I don't touch a controller screen at all. I run everything off of my phone or like my laptop or Octoprint is fantastic. The Cheetah, I don't know if the Cheetah board is in UART. I think that might be the only downfall to it.
Which is the Cheetah?
It's a new one. Let's see if we can just look it up quick here. Cheetah
Pro.
Do you want to purchase faster?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that board myself.
I know it's a drop-in replacement. I've seen it pass through the forums a few times, but I haven't actually looked at it to buy it because I am so satisfied with the.
I'll go on to Alley.
That could be too. Let's just do that.
Sometimes it's a good website.
There we go. So the Cheetah, that's the F-Citic. So same idea, but like that one's that's exactly what I thought.
Is it 2209s or 2208s? I mean,
I think those ones are 2209s. So you do get you get the 22. Wow. Well, even different.
Okay, different. Yeah. So that's the one thing. I have the 2130s on my other printer, and I have it, and I'm using the sensor or the end stopless homing and whatnot, and it works really well. It's very, very smooth. Works really well. So I'm very interested in the 2209s
because they're the
because
2208
basically it's everything that was good about the 2208s plus everything good that was about the 2130s, and they've pushed them together in a reasonable priced driver. So very nice. Some additional features that are really nice, but if you're using end stops, then the 2208s are just fine.
Yeah, and just looking at the cheetah board, and yeah, the price is fairly good.
Yeah.
So, $30 US. But it doesn't specific. It says that it's UART compatible, which any of the TMC drivers are. But
So
I
I wonder if
don't
you can
see.
toggle it somehow.
Yeah, I don't see the toggle mechanism, but that might be something
Well,
to.
there was a jumper. Well, one more
One more
jumper there. I wonder if that toggles UART mode.
jumper. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Short to. Oh no, those are sensorless homing. So yeah, no, it
Right,
looks like it gives you all the. Yeah, cause see, those are sensorless homing. They're there, and then there's the
Oh, the
jumpers
yellow is
there.
for fans.
Probe fans, yeah. No, so it looks like yeah, it is in UART. So that might be one to get in and give a try. One thing with our channel is, well, one, we're newish, so we don't have any sponsors, so we get to buy everything.
Yeah, everything's our own budget. So
Yeah.
so we'll see what we can do.
But we do have, if you like what we're doing, we do have that Buy My Coffee link in all of our videos.
Yeah, buy me a coffee. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
that cheetah board, it's definitely something to consider. The only thing that I would like right off the top that I can see that I don't really like about it is it's not changeable drivers. So they're all soldered onto the board. So if you blow a driver, you're replacing a board instead of just the driver.
But if you have a stock ender, it doesn't have replaceable drivers.
Well, and that's just
and if
it.
you have a stock, and so some people they just want a small upgrade to the, and so that would be fine. And I think,
and that's the comparable.
We are
cost,
tinkerers.
Yeah, we tinker.
So having replaceable drivers is something that definitely that's what we look for, like on a board. If we're because we want to try different things.
Yeah.
If you're not a tinkerer, then and you just want to print and you want maybe a little more speed or a couple 32-bit Marlin, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Definitely, some of those other boards might be very attractive.
I think like the Cheetah board there has the 2209s. The new E3 Mini, I think it's called, from SKR has 2209s. And both of them look like they're UART capable. So yeah, drop-in replacement wise, those are great options. The Creality boards, I honestly would steer clear of those. There's been issues where they don't ship with what's promised, and they definitely aren't in UART, and they're not capable of it right now. So they're literally the drop-in.
I think they're just a little behind. I think they will come along. I think everyone is. I think
at the end of 40.
you look at the Prusas, they were the first to embrace the 2130s.
Yeah.
And they proved that the TMC chips are very reliable.
Yeah.
And the SPI mode was built natively into their boards. So I can see them maybe going to the 2209s in their next revision.
Yeah.
Whatever they're going to call their next revision of board.
And honestly, like if those 2209s were out when we ordered
we
our last set of boards, we would have bought 2209s. If I had the money, I would have bought the 51 whatever.
The 5160s. Well, but the 5161 is out now.
Exactly. So, and
you can never. It's always keeping up with the Joneses. You can't. Whatever you buy is obsolete. The next day.
But I guess bottom line with these boards is when you're looking to replace a board, if you're doing Core XY or really just light duty printing, the SKRs are more than capable. We had that one SKR we put in an Ender 3, and we had that Ender 3 running like 400 millimeters per second, just spitting out filament. Right?
I was amazed it wasn't flying apart. It was going so fast,
and you couldn't even hear it.
It was in spiral mode and just spitting out this rocket. Now, it was not the prettiest rocket in the world.
It did okay,
but holy cow, did it print fast! That was amazing.
It was a thing of beauty. But they're solid replacements. Keep them cool. That's if you've watched Starsight, I built a replacement control board. I called it for the Ender 3, but it could really be for
Anything.
any printer, and it has a 120 millimeter fan that sits on top.
Yeah.
We really like our 120 millimeter fans.
Well, I
And hey,
mean,
they move
they're
air and they're quiet.
inexpensive and they're
Yeah,
and they move a lot of air.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
So one thing we're gonna go on. We're gonna move to some project stuff that Greg has going on with his Chiron or
Kind of talked a
Chiron.
little bit about it, but
Yeah,
yeah, we can.
but he's got some good conversion videos coming up for you.
Yeah, so I'll have a series of videos. I've got the Anycubic puts the V5 hot end, they call it, in, and I'm going to do a comparison between the V5 versus the V6 because the E3D V6 and their clones, they're slightly different dimensions and how the throat tubes can be interchanged and whatnot. To try to find a all metal throat tube for a V5 is almost impossible. I haven't been able to find one.
I don't even know if you
So
could.
I decided because I potentially want to print more exotic materials at some point, and for sure some PETG, that I definitely wanted the other hot end. So going to be doing that. I've got some additional videos on the SKR install that's coming out, and
Whoa.
I've got some other messages here.
I don't even know what happened in the chat. I'm sorry. If it affected you, it looks like it just deleted a bunch of stuff.
You are not spamming. Sorry about that. We don't know what just happened.
We're playing with Streamlabs, and apparently it just decided everything was spam, so we'll have to figure that out.
Strange.
It is strange. Please refrain from spamming.
Oh, hit the gear. Can we change that?
Oh no, it should be fine now. I think it was just overloaded. Sorry. Don't be sorry.
It's not you, it's us.
Yeah. And that's just our bot yelling at you, so don't worry.
Well, we're new to the Streamlabs thing. Do you have, just out of curiosity, do you have any questions or topics you'd like to see in any videos?
Yeah, if you
because that's something we appreciate any feedback that you give us and whatnot. But if there is a topic or just you want a little more information on something about 3D printing, we're more than happy to oblige. Yeah. So if there is something out there, we definitely would be happy to help out with that.
Yeah, and hopefully our chatbot doesn't chatbot you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We'll have to play with the settings a bit. It's the first day we've been using it, so there's just there's one thing I kind of want to throw out there and talk about, just real quick, before we probably get close to wrapping up. But lots of people have been talking about slicers still.
Yep.
Out in the wild, and I know Greg and I are using Prusa slicer a lot, if not mostly.
I still when I was having some issues, I still went back to Kira and whatnot, but I'm really liking the interface and it is working well. But I'm not opposed to using any other slicer, because I think the whole point is this is a very young maker hobby space, so there's nothing wrong with innovation, and I think the more innovation the better. And so I'm willing to try whatever comes out, and I think you are too. So.
I am, yeah. So like the Prusa slicer 2 is awesome. You got to set it up, but it's been working. The one thing I want to throw out there, and I'm not sure, if everybody in here what printer we're using, but there's the the Creosum mod still. It's a hot topic, and it's one that should not be a hot topic because slicers are a configurable personal thing. So calling people out for using Creosum, hey, if they want to use it, that's fine. I don't personally use it because there are issues with it, but it's a good jumping point. So I think if you're new and you want a good place to start, Creosum is okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other one that I've been playing with is Idea Maker, and that's one of my upcoming projects that I'm doing on the support video. Is I sliced Kira with tree supports, and then I sliced Prusa with regular supports, and Idea Maker with regular supports. Just auto generated, and then we can compare kind of what the prints and the supports look like on those. So
Yeah, I still need to play with tree supports a little more. I have now that my board is upgraded, I have quite a long print that my son would like me to do, and I've been putting it off because my daughter sleeps in the next room and it's kind of loud down there. So I'm hoping that with the silent drivers and maybe tree supports, I'll consult with David on
yeah,
this print. It's a dragon head door knocker,
oh yeah, that one.
and
Yeah.
and I want to print it quite large, but I also want to print quite successful with it.
Yeah, and those things can be tricky at the best of times.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of detail, so I'm also debating on what size nozzle I should print with too.
Yeah, that one's tricky because if you go bigger, you can print faster, but then you lose resolution.
Yeah, and if you go smaller, it takes forever. So,
but you gain resolution. So if the daughter ever moves back upstairs, it won't matter.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's